Let me tell you something that's really shaking up our world right now. You know that dream many of us grew up with? The one about owning your own home? Well, it's starting to feel like more of a fantasy for many middle-class families. Think about it. Wages aren't growing much, but house prices, they're shooting through the roof. It's not just happening in a few places either. Whether you're in New York, London, or any major city, the story's the same. Regular folks with decent jobs are struggling just to save enough for a down payment. What used to be a clear path to financial security has become a distant dream for many. The rules of the game haven't completely changed, and I'm going to tell you exactly why this shift is happening and what it means for your future. Here's what's really going on with our paychecks. Sure, you might be getting those yearly raises, but let's be honest, they're not keeping up with the crazy housing market. The Federal Reserve's data tells us a pretty scary story. Even though we're making more money on paper, it's worth less and less when you look at what houses cost today. The National Association of Realtors keeps tracking this, and the numbers don't lie. Unless you're in tech or constantly upgrading your skills, your salary probably isn't growing fast enough to match these skyrocketing home prices. Even those small raises you're getting, they barely make a dent when you look at how much more expensive homes have become. It's like running on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not getting anywhere near your goal of homeownership. Now, here's something that might surprise and annoy you. Big companies, we're talking huge private equity firms, are swooping in and buying up regular family homes left and right. Bloomberg and The Atlantic have been reporting on this, and it's pretty shocking. These corporations aren't looking to live in these houses. They're turning them into rental properties. And guess what? They're paying cash, making it impossible for regular buyers to compete. This isn't just happening in big cities anymore. Even quiet suburban neighborhoods are being targeted. These investors are changing the entire landscape of home buying, pushing prices up and turning what used to be owner-occupied neighborhoods into rental communities. It's like playing Monopoly, but these guys start with all the good properties and unlimited cash to outbid everyone else. Let's say you've somehow found a house you can afford. Well, get ready for the next hurdle. Banks have gotten super picky about who they'll lend to. They're still spooked about the last financial crisis, and they're not taking any chances. You need an amazing credit score, a rock-solid job history, and a bigger down payment than ever. And if you're dealing with student loans or credit card debt, good luck. The standards have become so strict that even people with good jobs and steady incomes are getting turned down. It's like they've set up this obstacle course where only the financially elite can get through. Even if you know you can handle the monthly payments, convincing the bank is a whole different story. And they're not making any exceptions. Hey, before we dive deeper, hit that follow button right now. I'm going to share some game-changing strategies that could help you build wealth in ways you never thought possible. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's talk about something that's hitting younger folks especially hard: student debt. It's like carrying a backpack full of rocks while trying to climb a mountain. For millennials, these loans are making it nearly impossible to save for a down payment. The Federal Reserve has actually found that student debt can push back home ownership by years, sometimes even decades. And it's not just an American problem. Young professionals across Europe are facing similar challenges. When you're stuck paying high rent and student loans, how are you supposed to save anything? The numbers from the Federal Reserve research are crystal clear. Student debt is creating a generational wealth gap that's getting wider every year. It's a vicious cycle that's keeping an entire generation from building wealth through property ownership. Here's something that might surprise you. Those government policies meant to help, sometimes they're actually making things worse. Take low interest rates, for example. Sounds great on paper, right? But here's the catch. When rates are super low, everyone rushes to buy, driving prices through the roof. And those tax incentives for homeowners, they often end up benefiting wealthy investors more than regular folks. The policies designed to make housing more accessible are having unintended consequences that make the situation even more challenging. It's like giving everyone a boost to see over a fence, but some people were already tall enough to see over it anyway. The system that's supposed to help us is sometimes working against us, creating an even more competitive market. But don't lose hope. I got some creative solutions for you. Ever thought about co-buying with friends and family? It's becoming a smart way to get into the market. Pool your resources, split the costs, And suddenly, that impossible down payment becomes doable. Or maybe consider looking at up-and-coming neighborhoods or even different cities. Some people are finding great deals in what we call emerging markets. And hey, rent-to-own might sound old school, but if you negotiate it right, it could be your ticket to home ownership. The key is thinking outside the box. The traditional path isn't the only way anymore. These alternative approaches might seem unconventional, but they're helping people break into the market when traditional methods fall short. Here's a game changer that could work in your favor: remote work. This shift in how we work might be your secret weapon for breaking into the housing market. Think about it. If you can work from anywhere, why pay big city prices? You could move to a smaller town where houses cost half as much. I'm seeing people do this successfully in places like rural France or smaller German cities. But here's the important part: do your homework first. Make sure your job is truly remote friendly for the long haul and really understand the cost of living in your target area. This isn't just about finding cheaper housing. It's about reimagining your entire lifestyle and career approach to make homeownership possible. Let's get creative about making this happen. If your regular job isn't cutting it, it's time to think about side hustles. I'm talking about freelancing, online businesses, consulting, anything that brings in extra cash. Some people are even exploring peer-to-peer lending or crowdfunding platforms. Just be careful and do your research there. The traditional approach of saving a portion of your regular paycheck might not be enough anymore. You gotta be more entrepreneurial and maybe even a little bit scrappy to make this work. Every extra dollar you earn from these side ventures gets you closer to that down payment. And in today's market, you need every advantage you can get. Look, I know all this can feel overwhelming. The rising prices, the corporate buyers, the tough lending rules. It's a lot to take in. But here's what I want you to remember. Understanding these challenges is the first step to beating them. Real estate has always been one of the best ways for regular people to build wealth, and that hasn't changed. What has changed is how we need to approach it. Stay informed, be ready to try new approaches, and don't be afraid to zag when everyone else is zigging. Your path to home ownership might look different than your parents', but it's still possible. The key is to stay flexible, keep learning, and be ready to adapt as the market continues to evolve. If you found this eye-opening, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our community where we're constantly sharing fresh, practical strategies for building wealth in today's changing world. Don't let the old rules hold you back. Subscribe now, and let's figure out these new paths to financial success together. We're here to help you navigate these challenges and find your way to financial freedom.